With this welcoming song, the Ansar of Medina residents welcome the Prophet's peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, and with it, their descendant welcome the Prophet followers, pilgrims and visitors with flowers and rose water upon their arrival into the city of the Prophet. The welcoming program, which initiated and supervised by the Ministry of Hajj, includes a distribution of gifts and remarkable hospitality, which has great impact on the pilgrims and visitors, reflected by shedding tears of joy and satisfaction. Without knowing the great preparation effort that took place prior to their arrival, under the supervision of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman ibn Abdul Aziz, to render the best services to enhance the comfort and well-being of the guest of Allah, and the follow-up by the Crown Prince, Minister of Interior, and the Chairman of the Supreme Hajj Committee, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Nayef bin Abdul Aziz, and the Deputy Crown Prince, Minister of Defense, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz, as well as the supervision of the advisor to the custodian of the two holy mosques, Governor of Mecca al-Mukarramah region, and Chairman of the High Hajj Committee, His Royal Highness Prince Khalid Al-Faisal, and the Governor of Al-Madinah Al-Munawwara, Chairman of Medina Hajj Committee, His Royal Highness Prince Faisal ibn Salman. These preparations start immediately in the end of every Hajj season, with intensive meeting conducted and supervised by His Excellency the Minister of Hajj, Dr. Bandar bin Muhammad Hajjar, with his advisors and senior ministries officials, as well as officials from other relevant ministries and organizations, to evaluate the overall performance of previous Hajj season, where they would identify the positives in order to develop them, as well as identifying negatives in order to avoid them. And they project all of that on the next season plans to improve the quality of services provided to the pilgrims. This is followed by another meeting chaired by His Excellency the Minister of Hajj with the head of Hajj delegation to inform them about the result of the previous Hajj season and to receive their feedback and suggestions, as well as reaching an agreement on the number of pilgrims from their countries and the services they require. The pilgrims begin their first blessed steps in the holy city of Medina. May Allah have peace and blessing upon its inhabitants. Medina has been associated with the holy mosque in Mecca since the Prophet's migration. Therefore, Medina has witnessed major expansion projects in the Prophet's mosque and the two projects in the development of the city center, as well as the installation of new umbrellas over the surrounding areas to the Prophet's mosque, in addition to the final stages of several giant projects including the Pilgrims City. The Ministry branch in Medina implements the operational plan for the pilgrimage season, which aims to provide the best and the most refined services to the visitors of the Prophet's mosque, peace of Allah and blessing be upon him. Those plans stresses on the services to achieve the outstanding quality and performance rate. It includes specific and clear work procedures that are subjected to the International Key Performance Indicator (KPI) to measure and evaluate the performance of services provided to the pilgrims in order to improve them. The Ministry of Hajj has worked to simplify the procedure for pilgrims at the airport through the electronic path. It means, in short, reducing the procedure the pilgrim goes through at King Abdulaziz International Airport in Jeddah and Prince Mohammed bin Abdulaziz International Airports in Medina. When the pilgrims arrive to the kingdom, all their data would be stored in an electronic chip installed in their wristband or in a bracelet that wore in their hands. When they pass through the health electronic gate, the chip would show whether or not the pilgrim meets the health requirement and has taken all the necessary vaccinations. Then they pass through the passport office, where all their data appears. After that, they pass through the Ministry of Hajj gate, which would show all the hotels reservation in Mecca and Medina, as well as the transportation's company and his arrival and departure dates and times. The Ministry is keen to speed up all the process to adopt a flexibility during the reception and departure of pilgrims, with taking in consideration the human aspect in the first place. As an example, His Excellency the Minister of Hajj has emphasized on securing specific vehicles to transport the elderly and the people with special needs in order to serve this precious segment of pilgrims. The procedures of quality and safety standards, good conduct, and speed in serving the pilgrim have resulted in the Ministry of Hajj being awarded the well-known international certification services ISO from the British Accreditation Agency OSS. This honor is supported in the fact that the Ministry of Hajj efficiently and effectively receives about 40,000 pilgrims on an average per day during normal times and 70,000 pilgrims a day during a peak time, where they take care of them since their arrival at the port of entry. Furthermore, the Ministry branch in Medina has won the first place of Gold Award of the Government Excellence Performance for the year 1436 Hijrah from the Governorate of Medina region for Quality Management System and Continuous Improvement Applications. This award comes as a result for the branch's commitment to the application of the Institutional Excellence Standard. Then the pilgrims proceed to the holy city of Mecca, since that Allah Almighty addressed His Messenger Abraham, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, by what could be translated: proclaim to the mankind, they will come to you for Hajj on foot and on another traveling methods. They will come from every deep and distance. Pilgrims' delegations are paraded to the holy house of Allah in ever-growing numbers a year after year. The pilgrims find today all the comfort and tranquilities that meets their needs. For example, transportation carriers reached 18 companies, providing 17,700 buses fully equipped to transport more than 1,300,000 external pilgrims, of which 1,696 are new buses that have been provided this year. Transport sector provide about 25,000 job opportunities during pilgrimage season, mainly for drivers and technicians. This is coordinated through the General Car Syndicate, which is supervised by the Ministry of Hajj. Once the pilgrims reach the holy mosque in Mecca safely and in peace and tranquility, he is overwhelmed by the gift of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to the Islamic nations, since Mecca is the Qibla of Muslims and the beloved city to the heart of all Muslims. As the Saudi government has taken upon itself the completion of a major expansion of the two holy mosques, here comes the third expansion as a historic leap of the General Mosque with a total capacity of 1,850,000 prayers inside the shrine campus. The expansion launched by the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman, includes several sectors, the most important of which are the main expansion of the sanctuaries of the Grand Mosque, the Mas'a and the Tawaf area, as well as the mosque external arena and the connecting bridges and balconies. These expansions are considered the largest expansions in history, where the latest construction techniques and the modern system are being used. The Ministry of Hajj has continued to develop all what would be in the interest and safety of the pilgrims and to facilitate for them the performance of their rituals. This Hajj season has witnessed the implementation of the new electronic gates and tafweej, as well as other techniques adopted by the ministry. This reflects the quality lab in the improvement and development of performance on the basis of modern information and technology, such as the Ministry of Hajj website, spatial maps GPS, and the toll-free number to receive pilgrims' complaints around the clock. The electronic path has also considered as a leap in the quality of services provided to local pilgrims, as it facilitates to citizen and resident an access to the local pilgrims companies which are licensed by the ministry. This electronic services enable the pilgrims to verify the transparency and clarity of services provided by these companies, and accordingly the elimination of the phenomenon of illusionary companies, and offering several levels of pilgrimage programs, namely facilitated, general and low cost. The Ministry of Hajj seeks to establish a fair, clear and transparent relationship between the service providers and the pilgrims. Thus the ministry slogan is "Serving pilgrims is an honor, a trust and a responsibility." During their stay in Mecca and in the holy sites, the pilgrims would realize the security effort extended by the Saudi authority. Security is an essential requirement during Hajj to ensure the safety of pilgrims, that they can perform their rituals in sanctuary and tranquility. To achieve that demand, the Saudi government makes every effort in response of its duty and responsibility, ensuring security in a pilgrimage season, management of the huge crowd in a geographically limited area, and the provision of all the services to them. When the pilgrims reach the holy sites, they find that the efforts of the Ministry of Hajj had preceded them in order to secure all the means of comfort for them. This is done through the concerted work of a variety of permanent and seasonal committees which hold all the tasks related to the follow-up of the process of Hajj and facilitate the performance of their rituals. The bodies and committees assumed multiple and overlapping missions, out of which are Pilgrims Complaint Committee, Accommodation Control Committees, Pilgrims Transportation Monitoring Committee, Sanctuary Land Distribution Committee, Lost and Missing Committee, Delegation Institutional Performance Monitoring Committee, Transporting Pilgrim to Mina and Arafat Committee, Deceased and Late Departing Committee, and Guidance and Awareness Committee. Believing that the pilgrimage is an international Islamic conference gathering every year an elite scholars and intellectuals from various Muslim countries, the Ministry of Hajj began organizing the major pilgrimage symposium under a specific purpose theme each year since the year 1390 Hijrah. Most of these seminars revolved through the multiplicity of the topic tackled for almost 4 decades around the jurisprudence of the Hajj, the etiquette of the rituals, and the links between pilgrimage and lives, value and culture of the nation. The purpose and goals aspired by the Ministry of Hajj of holding these seminars is the highlight of the cultural and civilizational role played by the kingdom in servicing Hajj and the pilgrim. The Ministry of Hajj developed through its planning and department agencies an action plan for programs to electronically measure pilgrim satisfaction with the services provided to them since their arrival to the kingdom until their departure back home. This is done through a link on the internet and the distribution of iPad devices by the staff of the Ministry of Hajj and the Tawafa establishments. The Ministry of Hajj pays a due attention to the training of all the staffs engaged in the service of pilgrims, whether they are ministry's employees or employees of other agencies working under the supervision of the Ministry of Hajj, including the 6 Tawafa establishment, the National Adillah establishment, the United Agents Office, Az-Zamazima Agency, and the General Car Syndicates. The agency oversees more than 40,000 of the manpower working in service of the pilgrims during the Hajj season. Upon the accomplishment of all their pilgrims and ritual acceptable and blessed by Allah, the pilgrims find at King Abdulaziz International Airport in Jeddah the same hospitality and facilities they experienced in Mecca and Medina. The Hajj and Umrah lounge at the airport complex are distinguished from other airports by witnessing the flocks of pilgrims' flights. More than 27 governmental agencies operate in this lounge to serve the pilgrims and Umrah visitors throughout the year. In spite of that great workload, the lounge have reduced the procedure for incoming travelers from 3 hours to 45 minutes. With regard to the departing pilgrims, there are specific procedures for them. The pilgrims are first transported to the airport by the Ministry of Hajj, then they enter through their designated gate, and then they will be directed to their departure lounge with the cooperation of the concerned airline personnel. The Ministry of Hajj applied the electronic system of dividing pilgrims into groups that works through 12 gates. This system contributed to the easiness of their departure through air and sea ports and prevented their piling up due to the fact that this system has achieved a careful monitoring movement of departing pilgrims.